know what, honey? I don't know if you guys already said it, and we don't, of course, need to go back to the book. But when you were saying,
We can.
you know,
It's okay.
I am that I am.
Yeah.
And the what you were reading to us today on page 20, that last sentence, how he ended that whole section says, the quantum field responds not to what we want; it responds to who we are being. And I
That
thought
is
that just went
so
exactly
good.
to what you were saying. And that's why I was thinking about microcosm, macrocosm. I've been thinking a lot that if I don't see myself as being like this, I'm really not that great of a help to the group. It'd be all about, you know, feed me, feed me. So that's why I'm working on myself so that I can be a good, you know, a good partner with everyone.
I love that, Kathleen. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, your heart is so beautiful. That's the kind of stuff that just melts my heart. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like music to my ears, and it just, thank you. Because that's my heart as well. I think that's all of us. That's all of our hearts.
Yes.
And you know, it's the beautiful place of that transparency, because that's been a huge focus lately too, is transparency. And one of the words with transparency is to make clear so light can shine through. And that's really that process of even bringing in, you know, the information with the butterfly about purging the things that are densifying us, that aren't making us clear. And so us coming together and having a clear picture of that which we want to create, to bring that clarity so that light can be shining through. We aren't going to be creating from a place of a dense nature, of something that could be chaotic, but something that is more defined and beautiful, and having to do with light as well as love, as we're putting these things out in the quantum field. And as we're healing ourselves, we can be better helpmates to one another in close proximity, in the level of intimacy of that which we are truly craving. And that's why I want to present this information. That's why I've wanted to come onto YouTube, is so that we can create this environment. It's always been my heart. I mean, Regina knows that. It's always been my heart, and her heart as well, to have this environment that we could create as family, to be able to do this. It isn't for us to become well known. I could give a crap less if people know who my name is and my face. But what I do care about is our community, of who we are as family.
Amen.
And that we all have a very important role to play. You know, I have there's a gentleman, I love Mr. Dean. I love Mr. Dean. You'll see him a lot on the comments, and he, you know, he said something the other day about just, you know, holding space for the light. And he just sees that that's what he's doing. But it's so much bigger than that. And yeah, it is holding space for the light, and it is the light that he's bringing. But as a family, we are truly building something together. And when somebody doesn't feel like they're doing anything, well, I'm just holding the light. Well, that is family. We are of one family. And so we all have an important role to play. You know, we feel like that we should be doing something, but in our state of being, and by us doing the work, Kathleen, like you said, and then we're purging so that we can be a better use, that is the greatest service that we can do for any of us. Because as I do it, you and I are one. So as I'm doing it, it's happening to you at the same time. So every single ounce of work that any of us one does, it affects all of us. So if you want to know why there's a mass awakening going on right now, is because there's a whole lot of us that are doing the work that is simultaneously and quantumly shifting the rest, because we are all connected. So profound. So that's why this Hayah, the intent of what we create, I believe we need to have more conversations about this. I believe that we need to set time to find a place where we can create a space to say, let's do this. Let's come together. Let's have some things written down, and let's begin to discuss the desires of our heart that we want to see manifested in a global experience where we're all partaking in responsibly creating this within the matrix field. Let's not just talk about it, let's do something about it and with it. We're going to still keep marching on through the book because there are some things that we need to do individually as well to help us in this process. But as long as we are understanding that the end result is a fuller shift quantumly within the quantum field, globally interconnecting all of us together, then it gives us a much bigger picture of that, what we are doing on the inside and why we're doing it. You know, it's like, yeah, you can create an experience and you can create all kinds of finances and fun vacations and all of these things to come your way. But when that time is like, okay, that was fun for a while and I created all these kind of things. But if we can't think bigger, then we're missing the whole point of why we're here. Because it's no longer an individual thing. We've moved in and we're moving out of that. We're moving into an interconnected thing. We're moving into the season of the Alephim, of those that are the many who are of one. And that is a very strong thing that I feel. That's what the Aleph and the Tav is all about. The beginning and the end. Those who were in the beginning that are here at the end, that are becoming one at the beginning again. Because they made a covenant, they completed the journey, and now they're coming back around in oneness unity, no longer divided. Because the Aleph, in the beginning there was one, in Bet they divided into two. That's when the dual system began to operate. And so by the time you finish the journey and you've gathered all the pieces and you've gone through the door and you've got the revelation and you connected to your heart and you went ahead and let the sword and plow do what it needed to so that you could find life because you were separated, because you saw the vision and then you allowed it to give you a means and direction in order to grasp a hold of that which was being said and offered to you so that you could have authority over the waters of chaos that we were all in order to find the seed of life that gives you a strong base to stand upon. The mere reflection of that which is going to produce heirship and royalty as creators, so that we could be given the signet ring, so that we could be wed, propped up, hedged in, supported. Then that way we could fully see the landscape of that which is really going on in dealing with our fallen nature. And then what that does, it gives us to speak different, because that's what we're creating with. We're revealing through what we're speaking and bringing forth these revelations through our own spirit breath. And then those very words that we hear ourselves speak then begin to be the journey that we are on, hunting and chasing after and desiring, and other people desire it. Because then in the circle of time, as we're compressing those things that are being spoken, compressing the light and the dark and finding the narrow path in between, we then can see the areas that we were poor and destitute in and then raise ourselves up into first fruit leaders. And then that's when we really allow the fire, the consuming fire, to cleanse us. Because by the time we get to this point in the journey, we've actually surrendered to it. Because we can see the end. We can see the completion. We can see the covenant. The fiery covenant that was always meant to purify our hearts so that we could start again as responsible, strong leaders, creators who have gone through the journey and get to start anew so that we can build all over again, but not from the place of separation, but now from the place of completion in creating from the place of oneness unity. By the way, I just told you the entire journey, the Aleph through the Tav.
Wow.
Every letter, every meaning, I just gave it to you. And I just spoke it to you. That is what the language does. And when you see that simplified journey, knowing that that is what is being presented to us, that we don't have to be in that place of separation anymore, that we're coming back to the place of completion in oneness unity so that we can rebuild from the place of oneness unity and not being separated. We no longer have to be Elohim that are divided into the light and the dark. Now we do it as one people, one blood, one love, one soul, Hayah, to be, to become, to come to pass, together, creating together, through revelation after revelation, using the power of our heart and our brains, through coherence with the Todah Rabbah, with the emotions and the gratitude and the love that naturally comes forth when you find oneness unity on the inside. And we are going to change the world, but we have to start doing it now. We need to start doing it within and come together, clean up our crap, purge out the goop that needs to, because the transformation is happening. That's why we are gathering. It is happening. It's khalaf. It's the same root word as the word when Yeshua transfigured. He was changed and he was transmuted. And why? Because he found life. He allowed instruction to come in his heart in the place of life. And then mouth began to speak these transformative words that altered and changed and transmuted his DNA so that he could become a vessel of light. And then when we complete it, there's a word that we become called Luya. And Luya are those who have the staff of authority that give this power and reveal it to those who are willing to connect their hearts so that it can be manifested in the world. These are light workers. These are those who decided to come to be able to affect creation, to clean up our messes so that we can come together and create responsibly, to create well, understanding the power of consciousness.